We are back talking Detroit Lions with legendary wide receiver Herman Moore himself. Herm, how you doing today?
Hey, Mike, I'm doing well. I'm looking to hopefully in about this upcoming Sunday, I'm looking to be doing a lot better.
Ooh, I cannot wait to hear about that. And it's near Christmas. You're killing me here. Presents are coming for you at least. But we had a present as fans this past Saturday because the Detroit Lions hosted the Denver Broncos and we smacked them around. What was your initial thoughts in this game where Lions just whooped them?
I thought the Lions did an excellent job of getting out on top of Denver and really bringing them the business because that's what we need to see. This team needs to be aggressive. It needs to be the aggressor. I told you last week I was a little concerned with how flat they've been. I'm a little concerned with the way the offense have had penalties. It seemed like the discipline had kind of waned a little bit and gone away. And then just getting rid of the turnovers. And defensively, they were giving up a lot of points. But against Denver, this team really bounced back, and I thought they came out and really handled business. And that's what you want to see. This is what we've expected from this football team. And getting off to such a great start and ending last season in such a great way, it would be a shame if they were to let the season get away from them, given it, how great they started the season out.
Oh, for sure. And look, the Detroit Lions offense was high powered on Saturday, and I think it had a lot to do with the continuity and the health of the offensive line. The offensive line had everybody. It was the starters for the fourth time all year, and of course, this offense dominated the pass and the run game. What did you see from this offensive line? Do you think it can continue to be like that heading for the next three games and into the playoffs?
Well, I think this offensive line can be dominant. It's going to take them, though. They're going to get tested. There are going to be some other teams they're going to face. Denver's defense was coming in. They hadn't given up a lot of points. They'd been doing very well last 3-4 weeks, and offensively, the Lions really kept them at bay. And we didn't see Jared Goff in a lot of duress. We didn't see him having to make any critical throws, other than just finding players. And so I think the offensive line did their job.
Absolutely. And it opened up the run game too. Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery is tearing up the NFL, and they tore the Broncos up on Sunday. What do you see from these two players?
I see a dynamic duo of running backs, and with Gibbs and put it like this: when they both take to the field, when Montgomery's there, when Gibbs is there, and they're playing and they're changing them in. I mean, the defense never gets to take a snap off. They don't get any breaks on the opponent side, so that's a great way to wear them down. Offensive linemen will tell you this all the time. They prefer to run the football. Pass protection is a lot harder. There's a lot more energy that exerted. But when you can have a healthy balance of running the football versus having to throw the ball all the time, it just makes life so much easier. And that's what we're seeing. And teams they've not figured out a way to stop Gibbs. They've not figured out a way to stop Montgomery. They haven't figured out a way to now keep them from even contributing to the passing game, because now when you look at what they're getting out of the backfield and the fact that they're getting involved with some of the passing attack, that makes them just even that much more dangerous, and it makes it that much more effective for the Detroit Lions offense. So it's great to see them. I love watching the running game start to pick up again here in Detroit. We've had lulls of bringing a lot of running backs, and it just really seemed like it never really stuck. We saw a little bit of that the year before, that started to kind of come together, and then we thought there was going to be a little bit of a downturn this upcoming season, perhaps, given the impact they had last year. But this year, I mean, they've lived and died by the running game.
The reason this team is doing really good is we have a lot of good draft picks. I mean, you get Jameer Gibbs. He looks like he could be the best running back in football. You have Jack Campbell. He's doing a good job on defense. Obviously, you got Sam Laporta right now, who's breaking, it seems like every single tight end record that potentially could be there. And then Brian Branch doing his job. What is your thoughts on this rookie class and Brad Holmes' ability to find talent?
Well, we start with Jack Campbell. He's coming in. You may not hear his name a ton of times, but man, he gets in there. He mixes it up. You find him around the football. He is definitely applying pressure coming from the linebacker position. The fact that they can flex him and they can move him around makes him a little bit more of a dynamic player. When you look at Branch making a contribution in the secondary, going out and just being around, being a ball hawk, being around the football, both on tackles, pass defense, and then just figuring out a way to sniff things out. And then, you talk about Laporta. What more can you say? I mean, this guy has just continued to be one of the more targeted tight ends in the NFL. He is producing. They're throwing him a lot of passes, but those passes are converting into first downs. They're converting it to big plays and also into scores. And when you can get that type of production and you can have a young group like this, and then you get Jahmyr Gibbs and everyone's really questioning whether or not, because no, he wasn't really on anyone's high radar except the Lions, but they proved, Brad Holmes and those guys proved that they found a gem. They found a player that perhaps was not there, that other people realized was there to be that impact of a player.
Yeah, a lot of people saying, you don't draft a running back this early. A lot of people are kind of readjusting the way they look at it because Jahmyr Gibbs right now is kind of like Chris Johnson 2.0. This dude is just absolutely on fire, going the outside, the inside. He's averaging 10 yards a carry, and he's getting close to 1,000 yards rushing. It's unbelievable. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, very possible both to get 1,000-yard rushing this year. Unheard of here. But the defense is starting to pick up. Aaron Glenn made a couple of changes. Bench Tracy Walker, put in the young Futu Melifonwu. Doing great. Vildor getting more time than Jerry Jacobs. What do you see from Aaron Glenn in this defense the last 2 weeks since they've made these moves?
I think they've lit a fire, and they realize there has to be a different sense of urgency. Aaron Glenn is feeling the pressure. He's hearing it from the fans. He's hearing it, I'm sure, around the league. And there's some questioning of whether or not his defense was really up to the task to really go with this offense. But we've seen that both really work hand in hand. When the offense is going, the defense needs to be going as well, and vice versa. If one's not, the other one needs to really be picking it up. We've seen that in the last couple of weeks, them starting to try and get back on track. We're starting to see not a lot of their big name players, ending up in some of the major categories, but as a unit, they're playing extremely well. They're playing physical football. They're not beating themselves. We don't see a lot of the mistakes that we were seeing the last few weeks. And I think that's what's been the biggest shift. And you want to see that. Like I said before, and I tell everyone, this is the toughest part of the year. This is where teams are supposed to be at their optimal level. And you want to see your defense not going backwards but forward. And right now they've taken a step forward after this game, definitely over what we've seen in the last couple 2-3 weeks.
Helps on the way as well. James Houston, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Ali McNeil getting close to return for the Detroit Lions. We got a big game on Sunday. Lions traveling to Minnesota, NFC North showdown. If the Detroit Lions win on Sunday, Herm, the Lions win the NFC North. What is your thoughts about this game on Sunday?
Well, Mike, that's what I alluded to just a minute ago. I said I will feel a lot better, I think, after Sunday. I think this is an opportunity. It is way too much online. I would play this game as almost like it's the last game of the season. It's playoff or go home. And I think that's the mentality, just understanding what I know about this coaching staff and how these players that are former players that are the coaches are thinking. They're going to make sure these players understand you have to go leave it on the line in that game. It's not worrying about Dallas. It's not worrying about the final Minnesota game. It's taking care of business right then and there, and it solves everything. And I think that's what they're going to be gearing up for. I don't see them holding back anything. I think the play calling will be that way. I think the coaches will come in and approach it that way. The players are going to approach it that way. So I'm looking at them really coming in and smacking Minnesota in the mouth. I really do. I think this is going to be the most aggressive game that we've seen them play. It'll be smart play calling, but I think they're going to really, really get after it.
Last time Lions won a playoff game, you were playing. When you look at this team, this roster, can they win the NFC North? Can they make a run? What do you see from the Detroit Lions in 2023?
I see them as being a team that, for the first time in 30 years, they're going to bring a division title back to the Detroit Lions. It won't be called the NFC Central. I think it'll be called the NFC North Division Champion. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think the Lions are due that, and this team has played its way into a position to be called champions. And so I'll be there cheering for them, and I'll be there loud and proud, and hoping that they come back with a much-deserved victory over the Minnesota Vikings.
Very, very exciting. And if you look, man, in the rest of the NFC as well, Dallas falling off a little bit. Philadelphia, 3-game losing streak. Could the Detroit Lions do it, Herm? Can they? Do you think they potentially could, get to that NFC Championship game?
I think they can get there. we'll see what happens against Minnesota. If we can see them keep the momentum and keep the disciplined play calling, and also playing style that we saw with the players this past week, this team will prove to me that they're game ready. They're ready for the postseason. You don't know how they're going to respond until they get there, but I don't think they're going to be overly concerned or intimidated by it as much as I think they're going to know this is the reward for coming out strong, finishing last year strong, coming into this season starting out strong and carrying it out throughout the year. So this is going to be a big game, Mike, and I want to see them. I mean, can we get a home game, man? Can we get at least one game here at Ford Field? If we could do that, the city's gonna shut down. It's gonna shut down. We haven't had it since 1991, where we had a playoff game hosted by the Detroit Lions. It is due. It is time.
Well, thank you for your time, Herm. I know you're a busy guy. The Lions got to win on Sunday. With that said, folks, adios.